Junit framework. 1. What is JUnit and unit testing? JUnit is a testing framework. It is used for unit testing of Java code. The process of testing individual functionality, known as a unit, of the application is called unit testing. Or, the process of testing the functionality and working of these individual unit is known as unit testing. To explain manual testing vs automated testing. Manual testing, test cases are executed by humans, it's time-consuming and costly. Automated testing, no human involvement, test cases are executed by automated tools and programs, it's fast and less costly compared to manual testing. Three. What are the useful JUnit extensions? JWebUnit, XMLUnit, Cactus, MockObject. 4. How is the testing of the protected method done? To test the protected method, the test class is declared in the same package as the target class. Five. How is the testing of private method done? There is no way to test a private method of a target class from any test class. Hence you need to perform unit testing manually. Or you have to change your method from private to protected. Can we change return type of JUnit test method from void to some other type? All the JUnit test methods should have a void return type. If you change the return type, then the test method would not be considered as a test method and would be ignored during execution of tests. Seven. What is the test suite? The test suite allows us to group multiple test cases so that it can be run together. Test suite is the container class under junit.framework.testSuite package. 8. What is JUnit core class? This class is mainly responsible for executing tests. The org.junit.runner.JUnit core class has a run classes method, which allows us to run one or more test classes. As an output we get a result, org.junit.runner.result, object, which we use to filter out the test information. Nine. What are the important JUnit annotations? At test, at before class, at before, at after class. At ignore, a test method annotated with at ignore will not be executed. What is parameterized test in JUnit and what all annotations used for this? Parameterized tests are possible in JUnit and they provide us the liberty of passing parameters into the test classes. At run with, parameterized.class, for making a class parameterized. At parameters, parameterized class must have a static method for generating and returning a collection of array. This method should be marked with @parameters annotation. What's the use of @rule annotation? @rule annotation is used for creating objects, which later can be used in test methods. 12. How a test annotation is used for testing exceptions. At test, expected equals exception. Class. Limitation, it is used for testing only a single exception. What is Java assert statement? Java assertions allow the developer to put assert statements in Java's source code to help unit testing and debugging. Assert equals, string message, expected, actual, any kind of object can be used for testing equality native types and objects, also specify tolerance when checking for equality in case of floating point numbers. Assert null, string message, java.lang.object asserts that a given object is null. Assert not null, string message, java.lang.object asserts that a given object is not null. Assert true, string message, Boolean condition, asserts that the given Boolean condition is true. Assert false, string message, Boolean condition, asserts that the given Boolean condition is false. Fail, string message, fails the test immediately with the optional message. Ways to test timeout. If a test case takes more time than the specified number of milliseconds, then JUnit will automatically mark it as failed. JUnit provides 3 different ways of testing methods against the time. First is the timeout parameter to the @test annotation. At test, timeout equals 2000. Second, using global @rule annotation. We can use @rule annotation. This is helpful when we want all our test cases to be passed within a specific time. For example, we want our each test case to be executed in 2 seconds. @rule. Public timeout global timeout equals timeout.seconds, 2. Lastly, using the @class rule annotation. We can use the @class rule annotation on class. It will see that all methods in a class execute in a specific time. So, here we want all the test cases collectively to be passed within a specific time of 10 seconds. @class rule. Public static timeout global timeout equals timeout.seconds, 10. Rule vs class rule. A @class rule has its before method run before any of the test methods. Then all the test methods are run, and finally the rules after method. So if you have 5 test methods in a class, before and after will still only get run once each. A @rule causes tests to be run via the rules apply method, which can do things before and after the target method is run. If you have 5 test methods, the rules apply is called 5 times, as a wrapper around each method. At rule cannot be set up to run before and at before class, while at class rule must be on static method. What is the difference between a stub, a mock and a virtual service? It all starts with test doubles. A test double allows us to decouple yourself from your dependencies. You replace the dependency with an equivalent interface that allows you to exercise a given test case. The most common categories of a test double used by developers are, examples in brackets. Dummy object, a string John or a constant integer 12,345. Stub, a stub HTTP response class that always returns the same response OK. Spy, a spy HTTP response class that records all invocations of the onGet method. Fake, a fake database class which persists to an in-memory H2 database instead of an expensive production-like instance of Oracle. Mock, a dynamic proxy implementation of user-listener interface, implemented by Macchiato and used in a unit test. A stub is a minimal implementation of an interface, usually returning hard-coded data. The hard-coded data is tightly coupled to the test suite. The tests are going to depend on that data. It is most useful when the suite of tests is simple. And keeping the hard-coded data in the stub is not an issue. Some stubs are handwritten. Some can be generated by tools for you. Some developers will say that a stub can also be primed, but you cannot verify an invocation on a stub. A mock usually verifies outputs against expectations. Those expectations are set in the test. It is also most often created by using a third-party library, for example in Java that is Macchiato, JMock or WireMock. It is most useful when you have a large suite of tests and the stub is not enough, because each of the tests needs different data set up. Maintaining a stub in that case could be costly, so you can use a mock instead. Also, the verification the mock does is a useful tool from a developer's point of view when writing automated tests. On top of that, a mock focuses on interactions rather than state. Mocks are usually stateful, for example you can verify how many times a given method was called. A virtual service is a test double usually provided as SaaS, often created by recording traffic rather than building from scratch based on documentation. It is created using one of the service virtualization platforms. Macchiato framework. 16. What is Macchiato? Macchiato is a Java-based mocking framework, used in conjunction with other testing frameworks such as JUnit and TestNG. It internally uses Java Reflection API and allows to create objects of a service. A mock object returns a dummy data and avoids external dependencies. It simplifies the development of tests by mocking external dependencies and apply the mocks into the code under test. Static methods can be mocked with PowerMock. It is a Macchiato's wrapper that provides same API plus static method mocking and other features. 17 Difference between doReturn and then return. Macchiato provides two different syntax for creating stubs like doReturn and then return. Do no thing, no then nothing. Do throw and then throw. Assume a method getItemDetails on mocked item service which return object of type student. So with then return, you will not be able to return anything other than of type student, but with doReturn you can set up the stub to return anything and the test will fail, or throw exception, during execution. // works. When mocked item service.getItemDetails 123 then return new item detail / throws compile time exception. When mocked item service.getItemDetails 123 then return expected price. With doReturn, both the stub setup works as it's not compile safe. Here we are trying to return an object of type double which still works and does not throw any compile time warning. doReturn, expected price, when, mocked item service.getItemDetails 123. doReturn, new item details, when, mocked item service.getItemDetails 123. So suppose, there is a SPY named SPYObject and it has a method test method which returns an integer, then to set up a stub on this you will need to use doReturn instead of then return. doReturn, 10, when, SPYObject.test method. When and why should a SPY be used? SPY is a type of partial mock supported by Macchiato. Sometimes we need to call real methods of a dependency but still want to verify or track interactions with that dependency. Was a method actually called? How many times the method was called? What were the arguments using which the method was called, etc. This is where we would use a SPY. When a field is annotated with @SPY, Macchiato will create a wrapper around an actual instance of that object and, therefore, we can call a real implementation and also verify interactions at the same time. If you have an object with two methods, method 1 and method 2, and you want method 1 to be called and method 2 to be mocked, SPYs provide this kind of setup. @SPY. Private customer deo SPY. @test. Public void test. Customer equals new customer. Assert that, service.addCustomer, customer, is, false. Verify, deoSPY.save, any, customer.class. Verify, deoSPY, times, 1, exists, any string. Verify, deoSPY, never, delete, any, customer.class. Why can't static methods be mocked using Macchiato? Static methods are associated with the class itself and not any particular instance of the class. This means that all instances/objects of the class use the same instance of the static method. What's the need to verify that the mock was called? Setting up a stub on a mocked object, or a spied instance, does not guarantee whether the stubbed setup was even invoked. Verification matchers give a facility to validate whether the stub that was set up was actually invoked or not, how many times was the call made, what arguments were the stubbed method called with, etc. Verification mode. There are quite a few methods in the Macchiato class that provide some useful verification modes. Times, int wanted number of invocations. At least, int wanted number of invocations. At most, int wanted number of invocations. Calls, int wanted number of invocations. Only, int wanted number of invocations. At least once. Never. /verify that the save method has been invoked. Verify, deomock.save, any, customer.class. / the above is similar to verify, deomock, times, 1.save, any, customer.class. / verify that the exists method is invoked one time. Verify, deomock, times, 1.exists, any string. / verify that the delete method has never been invoked. Verify, deomock, never, .delete, any, customer.class. What is good testable code? Reduced no of dependencies or tight coupling. Code that adheres to SRP, single responsibility principle. Less / minimal usage of static methods and final classes. Limitation of Macchiato. Can't mock static methods. Constructors, private methods, and final classes cannot be mocked. Mocking / stubbing default methods in interface in Java 8. With Java 8's implementation of default methods in interface, Macchiato provides out-of-the-box support to mock such default methods. Please note that this support was introduced from Macchiato 2 onwards. These methods can be mocked / stubbed like any other methods of a class or interface. How can order of stub invocations be verified in Macchiato? When you want to verify the order in which mocks were called, Macchiato's in-order interface can be used. During the test, you simply have to set up / create an in-order object, listing down a list of mock objects on which the order of mocks needs to be ascertained. If there are multiple methods on the same mock and there is no other mock that needs to be verified, then it's sufficient to mention the mocked class only once. Consider the test given below, which defines an object of in order and mentions 2 occurrences of mock database impl. At test. Public void calculate summon store underscore with valid input underscore verify mock order. / arrange. Student scores equals new student score updates, mock database impl. Int scores equals 60, 70, 90. Macchiato.donothing.when, mock database impl, dot update scores, any string, any int. Macchiato dot do return, a, dot when, mock database impl, dot get grade, any int. In order equals in order, mock database impl. / act. Student scores dot calculate sum and store, student 1, scores. / assert. In order dot verify, mock database impl, dot update scores, any string, any int. In order dot verify, mock database impl, dot get grade, any int. Returning multiple values against consecutive method calls. Using commas separated. When, mock database impl dot get grade, any int, dot then return, a, b, c. Consecutive then return. When, mock database impl dot get grade, any int, dot then return, a, dot then return, b, dot then return, c. Consecutive do return. Do return, a, dot do return, b, dot do return, c, dot when, mock database impl, dot get grade, any int. What is the use of Macchiato.any? In case we need to verify that a method is being called with any argument and not a specific argument, we can use Macchiato.any, class, Macchiato.any string, Macchiato.any long, etc. Types of mocking framework. There are broadly two categories of mocking frameworks. Proxy-based, e.g. Macchiato, EasyMock, etc., mocking classes and interfaces. Bytecode-based, e.g. PowerMock, JMockit, etc., in addition to classes and interfaces, allows mocking static methods, final classes, etc. How to initializing a mock. Run with Macchiato JUnit Runner class. At run with Macchiato JUnit Runner class. Public class locatordist. At mock. Private locator service mock. B Macchiato annotations.init mocks this method. At before. Public void setup, throws exception. Macchiato annotations.init mocks this. Difference between at mock and at inject mocks. At mock creates a mock implementation for the classes you need. At inject mock creates an instance of the class and injects the mocks that are marked with the annotations at mock into it. Or, at mock creates a mock. At inject mocks creates an instance of the class and injects the mocks that are created with the at mock, or at spy, annotations into this instance. Macchiato stubbing and stub. Stubbing -when, deo.save, customer, then return, true. Stub when, deo.save, customer. Stub method. Then return value. Then throw, exception. Then call real method. Then answer. This could be used to set up smarter stubs and also mock the behavior of void methods as well. What is capture arguments? Another cool feature is the argument captor, which allows us to capture any arguments passed into the mocked or spied methods. At Captor. Private argument captor customer argument. At test. Public void test register. / captures the argument which was passed into save method. Verify, doa mock, .save, customer argument .capture. Thanks for watching video. Please subscribe our channel / We will come soon with many more interview questions. Please like video and leave your comment.